Hey, how you doing? I've been doing some videos where I give the top 5 players at each position in the upcoming NFL draft. I'm going to continue that today. Today I'm going to give my top 5 wide receivers and talk about what I like about each player. Um, so I'll go from 5 to 1, starting with 5. My fifth best receiver in this draft is Joe Adams, wide receiver from Arkansas. I've really always liked Joe Adams. I liked him the whole year. If you watch his highlights just on YouTube or whatever, um, he has just some tremendous punt returns. Just making like 8, 9, 10 guys miss on punt returns. There was one in particular that was really crazy, but he had a bunch. When he was at receiver, when he caught screens or short routes, um, he just has that ability where he can make one guy miss, turn up the field, um, and make really nice plays. He doesn't have blazing speed. He is fast. The combine's coming up, so we'll see actually what all these guys run at the 40 or run in the 40 at the combine. But he's not blazing. He is fast, but his specialty is making guys miss, the leg strength, and just avoiding tacklers. And you see that when you look up his punt returns. Um, the reason I really like Joe Adams, and I've already talked about this a little bit, is because of his versatility. If a team drafted him, not only could they use him as a receiver and a good receiver, he probably would be really nice in the slot, and a guy who could pick up first downs and get good yards after the catch. But he can also step in day one and be the team's punt returner. Um, and if I'll talk about the Eagles, because that's kind of why I do these videos, to see where all these guys fit into possibly the Eagles' plans. If the Eagles drafted him, which I think they should, by the way, I think he could be their punt returner next year, their full-time punt returner. And then I think he could also play in the slot. Um, we have Avant, but they're kind of different players. And then also, we'll have to see what happens with DeSean Jackson, because if we re-sign DeSean, I would say there's less of a need to draft Joe Adams. I would still support drafting Joe Adams even if we do re-sign DeSean. But if for some reason we either don't re-sign DeSean or we franchise him and trade him, then I think there's a huge need to draft Joe Adams or a guy similar to him. And really, out of all these guys, I would really out of any player in the draft, I think Joe Adams might be the best punt returner. So I mean, that can add like 2 rounds to him just in terms of how high he could go. So Joe Adams number 5. At number 4, I have Michael Floyd from Notre Dame. Michael Floyd is a really intriguing player. I think he's a guy who will be a really solid receiver. I don't think he's very risky. I like his size. I like his speed. He's got good hands. I think he's a really solid receiver. For whatever team takes him, I think they'll be getting a really nice receiver. I don't think he's going to be just an absolute stud Pro Bowler every year, but he's a good receiver. If you watch him in Notre Dame, he made a lot of plays. He's not electrifying. He has an electrifying speed, but he's reliable. Like I said, good hands, nice size. So Michael Floyd, whatever. If the Eagles drafted him, that'd be fine. I think that I've already talked about in previous videos. I think they have more urgent needs on defense. So I don't think that they'll be able to get him because I think he'll go before they pick in the second round. So unless they wanted to pick him in the first round, I don't think they'll be able to get him. But Michael Floyd's a good player. So whatever team gets him will be getting a really good receiver. Third, I have Kendall Wright from Baylor. I love watching the highlights of Kendall Wright. It seems like every catch he had was like a 50-yard bomb from Robert Griffin III. Baylor has and had that wide open offense where it was really just shotgun with RG3, 4 or 5 wide, just chucking the ball down the field. And they were successful doing it. Obviously, Griffin won the Heisman. Baylor went 9-3. Had a nice year. I'm intrigued by Kendall Wright for the same reasons I like DeSean Jackson. He's great speed. He has a knack for vertical routes. He's got good hands. He has a knack for getting into the end zone. He's a really nice player. Um, you can kind of wonder how he'll transition from being that offense at Baylor to being an NFL style offense. I don't think that'll be too much of a concern. Like for example, if he went to the Eagles, his main thing would be doing deep routes anyway, so I don't see how that would be a huge adjustment for him. So I really like Kendall Wright. I think he is a really explosive player. I think he'll bring that in the NFL for whatever team gets him, and I would support if the Eagles try to get him. I think he'll be just an electrifying player, just like Deshaun is for the Eagles, or has been for the Eagles. I think that whatever team gets Kendall Wright will be getting a similar player in terms of electrifying game and be able to provide game-breaking plays using his speed and athleticism. My number 2 receiver is Alshon Jeffrey from South Carolina. The thing I love about Alshon Jeffrey is his size. He's about 6'4", 230. He'll be another guy who will be interesting to watch at the combine to see not only what he comes in as in terms of height and weight, but also what he runs at the 40. If you remember last year, Julio Jones came to the combine, was regarded as like a big, tall possession receiver, and then he did great at the workouts. He ran the 4.3, 40 range, great things in vertical and stuff, and he wound up the Falcons really sold out the rest of their draft to trade up. I forget how many spots it was. They were drafting like 29, I want to say, and they moved up all the way to something like 11, or maybe even it was 8. But regardless, they traded up really high to get him. And that was because of what Julio Jones did at the combine. So I think that could be a similar thing for Jeffrey, whether to help him out or if he doesn't do well, it could hurt his stock. But Jeffrey has a chance to be a really dominant player in the NFL because of his size. He's great at going up and getting the ball. He had a great play in South Carolina's bowl game against Nebraska. Towards the end of the half, he made a really nice play. He's a guy, if you watch highlights and game film of him, he can be a really dominant receiver at times, and that's what I like about him. Like I've already talked about his size. I think he'll be a really nice red zone target. It reminds me in a sense of like a Plaxico Burress type, just big, strong, go up there at the ball. I really like those players. And I think Jeffrey's in that kind of mold. So I think he's got to look out for because of what he can do. I think he's a special player. I hope the Eagles can try to get him. If Jeffrey's on the board in the second round when the Eagles pick, I think that's a slam dunk taken, especially if we can address our linebacker in the first round. That Jeffrey would be a nice guy to get in the second. Hopefully he'll be there. I'm not sure he will, but hopefully he will. And then my first receiver in this draft is Justin Blackmon from Oklahoma State. He's I think everybody's rankings top receiver. He was dominant in his career at Oklahoma State. He won the Blitnikoff 2 times, 2 straight years. Great size, speed, hands, really everything you want in a receiver. He reminds me of Terrell Owens in terms of on the field, based on just what he can do, how he plays, his body type, size. I would say he has a chance to be better than Owens actually, because I think he might actually wind up being a little faster than Owens. We'll see about that. I also think he might have better hands than Owens. He's just really sucks the ball and a great player or a great receiver, and just in terms of pure sense, just being able to catch the ball. And he runs great routes. If you watch the bowl game between Oklahoma State and Stanford, Oklahoma State won in overtime, but Justin Blackmon was really the reason Oklahoma State won that game. They were really getting blown out, or not blown out, but they were losing pretty handily, and Blackmon kind of rescued them. He kind of took the game over for a while there. There were times at Oklahoma State where really Blackmon was uncoverable. I I do think in the NFL he'll be pretty much a slam dunk pick. I don't think he's a slam dunk to come in and be like a top 3 receiver, like top 3 in the whole league receiver. I don't think he's a slam dunk to do that, but I think he will be a #1 receiver in the NFL for a bunch of years. I think whatever team gets him, he'll probably go in the top 5. Because a talent like that, I'd be shocked if he made it out of the top 5. Because it'll be tough for teams to pass on a talent like Blackman. Just you see what guys like Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, what the impact that they have on their teams. Blackman has a definite chance to be in that mold of receivers if he maximizes his potential. So thanks for watching. Those are my top 5 guys. Just real quick a side note, I think really excuse me, 4 out of 5 of those guys have a chance to go to the Eagles. Just talking about the Eagles for a second, I think because Joe Adams and the Eagles have a much higher percentage chance to draft a receiver early. If Deshaun isn't brought back, if he is brought back, they still might look for a receiver because you can't really have too many receivers. But I think they would then probably go defense or other positions on offense in the first couple rounds. But the Eagles love receivers, so wouldn't be shocked if and I would actually encourage them to take one of these guys in the early couple rounds, because Joe Adams, like I said, you can get his receiving skills and the punt returns. Michael Floyd, like I talked about, he's a safe pick. Kendall Wright, you get his speed and athleticism and over-the-top vertical playmaking, and Alshon Jeffrey, you'll get his size and red zone presence. So any of those guys, I think, will make great picks, great players, and we'll have good careers in the NFL. So thanks for watching. See you next time.